It's Thursday, May 3rd. I'm Scott.
I'm Rim.
And this is Geeknights.
Talking slow for some reason.
Tonight, giving gifts to nerdy people. Let's do this. So last night, we had a little game night. Played some Zendo, which apparently Natalie is the master of.
Well, the guy who wrote the game said in his blog that girls, in his opinion, many years of running this game for people, are way better at Zendo than guys.
Well,
pretty much universally.
I'm just saying, Judith and Emily were not nearly as good as Natalie. Natalie is like the queen of Zendo.
Well, for now, we gotta.
She exhibited the Buddha nature very extremely frequently.
But she did it in
the overwhelming majority of the time.
I point out that she did it in the Scott Johnson fashion of sit there for 20 minutes not moving and then suddenly say the answer.
Anyway. But on the, so I'm going home, and I already knew in advance that, I was missing the hockey game for game night, which is okay because it's not like it's the finals yet, right?
Yep. I mean, it was an important game. I really wanted the Rangers to win. But
so I get home, and I go to ESPN.com, and it says OT1, tied 1-1. And I'm like, oh, shit, son. So I bring up my illegal stream on the HTPC.
Yep.
And basically, it was in between the first and second overtimes, tied 1-1.
Now, if you're not familiar with hockey...
Well, here's the rules of hockey, right? So in the regular season of the NHL, under the current rules, which changed only a few years ago, if there's a tie at the end of the third period, you go to the first overtime, which is a short overtime that's only 4-on-4. If there is a tie at the end of that short overtime, you then do the shootout. Right?
Now,
I'm not going to go through all the shootout rules.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was a big fan of the shootout.
Now I don't like the shootout.
I'm less of a fan of it, but I like it better than doing the, well, we're tied, because I hate that.
Well,
I hate ties.
But in the playoffs, the way it works is the awesomest. Oh, it's a tie game. We play a full another 20-minute period, right? And if anyone scores, they win immediately, golden goal. And if that overtime ends and nobody has won with their golden goal, we play another 20-minute overtime period. And they just keep playing hockey period after period until somebody scores. You could theoretically play forever, right? Because you must win. It's a playoff game. Someone must win. This game went to 3 overtimes.
That is crazy.
And they didn't. The Rangers didn't score until there were only like 5 minutes left, and they were so tired, and everyone was like, But then, when you win that kind of game, it's the best because they won it away. So all the Capitals fans, when they scored that goal, were just like, and it was so good.
Yeah, and the thing is, I didn't notice because I was, after the game, I noticed the whole pack selling out in, a very short amount of time thing. So I was dealing with that, and people are emailing me, and I'm poking around and everything. And then I see Scott's tweet. He's like, OT3, and I'm like, what? What?
If it was OT4, I was going to be like, but it was already...
There are very few OT4s in the history of hockey.
The game ended at like midnight 30 Eastern.
I mean, I saw a Red Wings game when, oh my God, when was it? It was I don't know. I saw a Red Wings game a long time ago.
I think it was a 7 o'clock game, maybe.
So you know what the record is for the longest overtime ever in NHL hockey?
What is it?
It was the Red Wings versus the Montreal Maroons.
Not the Canadiens?
Nope.
This is way back in the day.
Montreal Maroons in 1936.
Yeah, so pre-NHL.
How many overtimes do you think it was?
I'm going to guess it's got to be a ridiculous number, 10 overtimes.
6, actually.
Okay.
There have only been 2 games ever that went to 6.
Whoa.
116 minutes and 30 seconds of overtime play, and the final
score...
Plus
that doesn't count the 60 minutes of regular play?
Nope. And the final score of the entire game was 1-0 Wings.
Nice.
Think about how long that would have gone. Think about that. Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I don't think there were that many spectators in the days of the Montreal Maroons. I could be wrong.
I've never, I'm a big fan of hockey. I've never heard of the Montreal Maroons.
This is pre-Original 6.
They were the last non-Original 6 team to win the Stanley Cup until the expansion.
Yep.
Until the Flyers won as an expansion team in 1974.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You realize if I just have Wikipedia in front of me and I don't, let on that I don't know stuff, I sound like I know stuff.
This is why, let me reveal the secret, which I've revealed many times.
Oh,
It
is this the secret of the world or just the secret of being a tech guy?
The long revealed secret. The curtain has been away, from covering this man behind it for years. But we are only smart because we read internets. We actually don't know shit.
Well, no. We're smart. We're not knowledgeable. There's a big difference.
All we do is read internets. That's how the source of all our knowledge. If you also read internets as much as we do and stay connected to it constantly and have the instinct to, whenever you have any question whatsoever, to use the Google, you will be as smart or even likely smarter than we are and more knowledgeable. So do that. And don't listen to us because you're getting fifth-hand knowledge.
So it's Thursday. It's the lounge on Geeknights. Though I do want to say it's kind of an aside, but
There's no lounge singers in this lounge.
The only podcasts or radio shows or anything that I listen to are, I was listening to Norman Centuries, but it kind of just stopped.
I actually only listened to half of it.
I listened to every episode that's out, but it just stopped like a long time ago. So I don't know what's up with that. I listened to This American Life, but I'm going through the archives right now. I listened to It's All Politics from NPR News, which is my favorite political podcast, or my favorite political anything. And I listened to Anime World Order, and I listened to Dave and Joel's Fast Karate for the Gentleman, which is the funniest thing I listened to on the internet.
I listened to Anime World Order. I listened to ESPN, pardon the interruption, because I don't have cable, so I can't watch it, and listening it is just as good and doesn't have as many commercials. I listened to Judge John Hodgman.
Judge John Hodgman.
He delivers the justice swiftly. I listen to a few episodes of Comic Geek Speak now and then, usually the ones where they, go over what's in the big, ugly catalog, what to buy. And I listen to Atomic Trivia War 9000, which I am on sometimes.
But a fortuitous moment happened because I happened to, be listening to a podcast, and this great This American Life on conventions ended, and it was great.
Was it about nerdy conventions?
All kinds of conventions.
Okay.
Scott, do you ever know what This American Life is?
Some NPR show.
Have you ever listened to it?
Nope.
Anyway, you should. So it ends, and Google Play or Listen or whatever just picks like another thing that's in my queue, and I hear us, and I'm like, what? I don't subscribe to my own podcast. I only subscribe to like 6 podcasts.
Why would I listen to this piece of shit show?
I only subscribe to like 6 podcasts. How is this? So then I realized.
I do subscribe to our show, but I just delete every episode before it downloads from iTunes. I just need to make sure it's working. That's how I monitor.
So a long time ago, like many years ago, not the last Otakon we went to. We used to have a tradition that died where we would get guest hosts to do Geek Nights in our format, like straight up, like news, things of the day.
You mean we did it like a handful of times and that was it?
We did it a bunch of times because we did it every year. See, I'm remembering this because we said these words on that show. We did it every year for several years when Otakon was happening.
No, I think one year we got a whole bunch of episodes, but we didn't really carry through with it that much.
Yeah, years before we did it, but we did like one year we got one, but then we were in Wildwood and it didn't appear correctly, and we couldn't get to any PC to re-upload it because there was no internet back then at the beach like we have now. But anyway, Fast Karate for the Gentleman, Dave and Joel, did a Fast Karate for the Geek Nights on MD Geist 2, The Death Force. And I'd forgotten that this happened. Like, we put it in our feed, and we forgot about it. So they put it in their feed as filler. And what's really funny is that the intro is us saying, hey, this is guest hosts, not us. And this is funny. And you and I are legit cracking up while we're talking about this episode of Fast Karate for the Geek Nights. Like, you said something like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And you're like laughing, like actually laughing, not fake laughing. So I listened to it. God damn, is it funny.
Even though it's so old.
Well, because one, Dave Riley does, like, Joel didn't really know what was going on. And Dave goes through our format in this very literal way. So he's like, so I guess now we got to talk about, just stuff. It's like the free form opening part before we talk about the main stuff. So I was doing laundry, and he launches into this like mundane anecdote about laundry.
That's our show.
And it turns out
that
anecdote
you should listen to it.
Is in fact wonderful and involves a human tooth, and it is just off the hook from that point onward.
Okay.
So I think it is proof that our format is good, and also proof that you should listen to Fast Karate if you don't. because it's great.
I used to listen to it all the time, and I did not enjoy it.
You should pick it up again.
But I have not listened to it in a long time.
Listen to
I have
the
not
most
listened
recent
to it.
episode, Driving While Minotaur.
I have not listened to it since the 24 era.
You know how Driving While Black? Well, Driving While Minotaur.
Okay.
So it's pretty good.
Do you drive in a labyrinth?
Man, remember in like 2005 when people would do like promos for other shows on their podcasts because podcasting was a thing?
Yeah.
There was a podcasting
There are still
community.
people who are podcast listeners, but they're pretty much go hand in hand with the radio listeners.
Yeah, podcasting is just a medium now, but back then it was a thing. Like there was a club. Like we knew a lot of the podcasters out there, and everybody had this like incestuous, weird community. And,
whatever.
Yeah, those were weird days. I think back on that. I mean, remember we were trying to help that real radio station start a podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Those were weird times.
Oh, so was that supposed to be your news?
No, that was just some stuff. It's Thursday. It's the lounge.
Sure.
Talk about whatever I want.
You and your lounge.
You got a news?
I have sort of news. It's not really news. I think I might have mentioned this in the show before, and this isn't advertising because no one paid me to do this directly.
Nah.
But there's this website called Taskrabbit, right? Taskrabbit.com. And it is the awesomest website. Well, it's not the awesomest ever, but it's really awesome. The way it works is this. You need somebody to do something for you.
Scott, that Red Wings game that was the longest ever was the Stanley Cup playoff game.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Oh my God. Anyway. So, right. So let's say you need somebody to go to help you drive something home from the IKEA. That's right. Or maybe you need somebody to do your laundry or clean your dishes. Or maybe you need someone to fix something that, that broke in your house and, you don't know how to fix it. Or, something like that. And you don't know anyone. And you don't want to pay like a professional and start looking through yellow pages. That's awful. You go to Taskrabbit and you put in a task. So what I needed was someone to take my shit to Goodwill to donate it. I had a bunch of old ass clothes I hadn't worn in years. They were in my house taking up space, which I don't have a lot of. And I said, get these the fuck out of here. But I couldn't take them out myself because there was no donation box nearby. I no longer have a car and whatever. So it was a pain in the ass to get all these things out of my house. So I went and there was actually an item for donation pickup. And I'm like, oh, how about that? I will use that. And so you go in, and what I did is I said, donation pickup. And they said, describe what you want. I'm like, I got 2 trash bags full of donation stuff. Just get them out of here, and take them away. And that's all I want. And then it's like, okay, how much are you willing to pay? And I was like, man, I would pay $40 to get this shit out of here. And it gives you a little graph showing you what other people have paid for the same thing. So you don't have to pick some random number and don't know what to do. Then it says, okay, you have 3 choices. Choice number 1, we'll pick somebody for you. And that's the recommended option. Choice number 2, we show you all the offers people have made and you pick one. And I forget choice number 3. I said, all right, I'll trust you guys. Recommended option. You pick something for me. So like an hour later, it texts me and it's this nice lady. And she's just like, hey, I'll do it. $22. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then she texted me, whatever, and, emailed. And she's like, all right, I'll come over tomorrow, 6:30. I'm like, all right. She showed up at 6:30, this nice friendly lady with a little car. I brought the stuff downstairs, put it in her car. She was friendly. She took it away. And then I went online and I just said, I had to click a button that says she did it. And then I typed in a number of dollars for a tip. And then I pushed OK. And that was that. And it was totally awesome.
Huh.
So if you got stuff that you need doing, right? Like maybe, you have to do something like a big cleaning and you need someone to come help you. Or, maybe, just something that's small, something that you need a small repair. The carpenter is not going to come and do that. It's too small a job for him. These kinds of things. Help carrying something to the dump, because it's too heavy and you're all alone. This kind of thing. Use this website. And the link I'm going to give you, and this is the part where I make money.
Uh-oh.
Because I use them, they said, Scott R. is using Taskrabbit to get all kinds of tasks done. We think you'll like it too. Use my promo code, PAL28.
Wait a minute, Captain Advertising.
0106.
Wait a minute. Wait one fucking minute, Captain. Captain, there will never be ads on this show.
It's not an ad because they didn't call me and ask for it. It is from me, so it is not paid by them. It was only an ad if they call up and buy the ad specifically. Anyway, the point is, if you use the promo code or the link,
You've given me shit for less.
maybe it's buzz marketing, is what it is. You get $10, and I also get $10. Hey, that's not bad.
So, actually, that is a pretty good segue because what I want to talk about a little bit is this Australian startup that straight up pays you if you will tweet and or astroturf to your close personal friends products.
That's bullshit.
So, well, what do you mean it's bullshit?
If you sign up for that, I would kick you in the junk.
So, here's what's interesting.
How do they prove that you did it?
So, they pay you based on, you know, how well you do it, like how many of your friends like follow through and all sorts of stuff. And I didn't read all the details of it, but what I'm more interested in is not this, because astroturfing, not a new thing.
No kidding.
Not a new debate, not a new topic.
But astroturfing to your closest friends is like, you're not even a friend anymore. Just like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, so what's interesting is the first comment on Slashdot says, and I quote, "This should be considered illegal. This is advertising. It is also a lie. That's fraud, plain and simple. And it is modded up +5 insightful." You know what? Should not be illegal.
Nor
for
is
me.
how is it a lie?
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know. I basically, most of the comments about
The
this.
point is, if you treat your friends like that, if you try to exploit your friends for money, you're not a friend.
You're front running me. What I noticed in all the discussions about this is
So
that
you
people
agree.
are really mad that this exists. Now, I'm not mad that it exists at all because this stuff has existed forever.
Nah.
This is nothing new. What I'm amazed at is how mad other people are about it, and I wonder why. Because does this mean that people have friends who they think will actually do this to them and that they would still want to continue to be friends with them?
We have seen very many instances of people with shitty friends and family.
I mean, I had a friend in quote friend in high school, and he was an okay guy. He had a ferret who was smarter than he was, but I digress. And he got into that Amway scam.
Big scam.
And the day he brought that up and tried to sell stuff to me, I was basically like, yeah, if you bring that up again ever, I'm pretty much not going to talk to you ever again. And I never really talked to him ever again because he tried to turn that into a career.
Alrighty.
Along with his brother.
Yep.
Yeah. But the anger at this, people were like, you should block all the URLs. You should like do everything. You should ban these people if you're an ISP. Like, people are really pissed about this. And I really don't understand why, because we already have ad block. Are there so many people who have such caustic social relationships to where this is actually a concern?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a beg question, it's just a question, and the answer is yes. If you protest
This is why so many people need to watch ponies.
if you're mad about this, it's because either it's kind of like the people who get mad about seeing an ad as opposed to just blocking it. Like, these are the people who need to block spam because they know they'll buy stuff from spam if they see it. And I find that whole side conversation hilarious, so I wanted to bring it to light. That's all I had to say.
Okay.
But anyway, things of the day. Our friend Chase found this. I'm going to give credit where credit is due, and he showed it to us. We were having a night of, oh my God, internet clips. And
You mean that every night?
you mean the thing we need to turn into a legitimate game, because it's basically just an internet dick waving
It's
contest.
a difficult technological problem.
Yeah, I know. It's also a difficult game to play because most of the people who try to play this
Are not as connected to the internet and have less ammo than we do.
or it is very, it's not just a matter of knowing funny things on the internet, because like a video that's funny about Patrick Stewart will win for me, but won't win for Scott. You got to have something that will win for the majority of the audience or you lose. And so we were playing this, and I brought out some old gems like those Russian pranks or the rogue trumpeter, which, those are like my go-tos because I know people haven't seen them. And Chase won the game by bringing out what I can only describe as an act of genius. This is someone who has taken a bunch of scenes from Star Wars, and nothing
All the
has
ones
changed.
with Darth Vader in the middle.
Nothing has changed, except Darth Vader is played by Arnold, as in characters that Arnold played in other movies.
Right. They're not. It's not a guy, reading Darth Vader's lines in an Arnold voice. It is
Welcome
audio-
to the party, Rector, or see you at the party, Rector.
Right. They took
Get to the
audio
chopper.
clips
I
from
know now
Arnold
why
movies
you cry.
and replaced Vader's dialogue with dialogue that sort of makes sense.
Now what's funny is,
but everyone else is still saying the original Star Wars lines.
this shows a sort of phenomenon that I've noticed from a long time ago, because I was really into audio and audio visualizations. I promise this will link back up when I was in high school. So I would like use different visualizers, and I'd like listen to a song while watching a visualization of that song. And I would notice like very like strong correlations, and I found a visualizer that claimed that it would like analyze the audio and like do visualizations that were like relevant to what was going on in the audio on a high level. So yeah, it was open source. I looked at the code. No, it was random bullshit.
Yep.
But if I showed it to other people, they would still see these strong correlations. I bring that up because if you watch this and it's just Star Wars, Darth Vader's body language is very menacing. If you watch this with Arnold doing the lines, the body language still seems to match up with the lines, and it's hilarious instead.
That's right.
So, you
Your
never notice.
brain does things. We know this.
You never notice in Star Wars how much Darth Vader's kind of just like shuffling his shoulders back and forth. But when it's Arnold, suddenly he's just like, and it's
that
brilliant.
Cape. That cape.
It also made me realize that I have a scarily encyclopedic knowledge of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Who doesn't?
And I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm like, True Lies, Kindergarten Cop, Commando, True Lies. Anyway, this is great.
So my thing is not nearly as great. There's this guy on the internet. His name is Dr. Nerdlove. I don't know how much he can help you with, love. But anyway, he's got 1,000 likes on Facebook, so he's kind of popular, right? He wrote this article. It's actually a really good article that is Learn from This, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And he goes with the in-depth analysis on the romantic tangles and exploits of Scott Pilgrim.
I wonder if it agrees with what I think.
He's basically teaching you all sorts of lessons like don't date a girl named Knives. Nobody likes the man-child. You are not the center of the universe. Etc.
But I am.
And, he's not focusing on the manga or the movie, the book or the movie. He just sort of, mixes it all up all over the place, right? Just taking in everything. And, true or not, correct or not, whatever. It's a lot of fun to read this, and it was a good read. So read it.
So, in the meta moment, we will be at, not this weekend, but next weekend, May 12th only, though the convention is the 11th and the 12th, ZenkaiCon 2012 at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center at Oaks, Pennsylvania. We're doing
You better have breakfast past 11 a.m., bitches.
That's not going to happen. We are doing 2 lectures there.
Flyers suck.
I forget which ones we're doing. One of them involves Dude Bro. My shit is fucked up, so I have to shoot/slice you two at straight up dog time. And My Little Pony. I think that'll actually be a pretty good one.
That should be good.
The other one's either Diamonds in the Rough or Anime You Should See, or maybe
Something
it's motivational anime. I forget.
Whatever.
But anyway, it'll be fun. It's a smaller con, but it's pretty big actually.
And the tabletop gaming is not half bad.
Yep. Some of our friends run it and our big staff at it. So if you want to hang out with us at a con and in an area, this is one of the best cons to do it because we're not busy. We have 2 events to run. We're not staff. We have zero responsibilities.
And there aren't a lot of other events that we're going to try to go to. It's not like PAX where it's like, sorry, can't hang out, going to the keynote. Sorry, can't hang out.
Yeah, and it's not like Kineticon where, if a panelist catches fire, we have to deal with that shit. If the convention catches fire, we will not do shit other than continue to hang out. And maybe, we can go out and get some dinner, hang out. We'll see. Let us know if you're going to be there. Don't be shy.
Anything else?
So not too long after that, July 13th through 15th.
Too soon.
Kineticon. We are responsible for all the panels, workshops, and lectures at that convention. We're going to be there doing some of our own panels, lectures, and workshops. It's a pretty fun con. it's pretty big relative to most cons, but it's not
The tabletop gaming is excellent, and in fact, the tabletop gaming library is the best. Better than PAX East, West.
Kineticon's tabletop is better than MagFest, PAX, any con I've been to.
And to make it even better, if you play games in the Kineticon tabletop, this is a little known fact, you earn tickets just by playing, right? And with those tickets,
you can get like Dominion.
You can get real expensive brand new board games, but with those tickets, the same way that you get chintzy plastic frogs at the arcade with tickets from the, skee ball. And it doesn't take that many tickets. Like 10 tickets, you can get like a $40 game. If you love tabletop games of the awesome kind, just go to Kineticon. And if you do nothing else, even though there is plenty other things to do like Super Art Fight, oh shit, you can just play tabletop games the whole time and go home with a whole bunch of free tabletop games. And it'll only cost you the price of admission. And if you even take home one game, that's like getting free admission. Right? I mean, what does it cost to get in there? $50, $60, something like that for 3 days?
So
if you win a $40 game, it's like, well, it's like you're paying you with board games to play board games. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, and we have some really good panel content. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the book club book is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. It's really popular and shit. That's why we're reading it.
Also, Otakon, we submitted bunch of lectures. So if you want us to be there, tell them. If we're not there, it's all them, not us. PAX Prime is sold out. I hope you got a ticket. They sold out in a couple hours.
Like we told you.
We'll probably be there. We got some panels, some lectures in the works. Brand new stuff. Looking pretty good, I think. And I did confirm, just for anyone who's interested, PAX Dev is happening. They just haven't announced all the details yet, but absolutely confirmed there will be a PAX Dev before PAX Prime this year. I think I'm going to attend, even if I'm not lecturing.
I may or may not.
Because I'm kind of the boss now. Like, I can take time off work without it being a big deal. So I'm going to go because, one, I can hang out in Seattle for a few extra days. Two, if any indication from last year is true, the people I know who went to PAX Dev said that it was pretty good, but they really wanted to play, like, games, afterward, because there's a lot of downtime in the evening, and there were not enough hardcore board gamers, but there is a small contingent of hardcore board gamers there, and I think that is when I can play Eclipse in Puerto Rico and T&E.
So anyway, I just want to add one more thing about the book club, right? I've been using various different logical ways to choose my next book choice, right? And even though Rim has the next choice, I'm going to tell you right now, I have decided on only one method of book choosing for the foreseeable future.
Uh-huh.
You know what that method is?
Random?
No.
The top 100 whatever books of all time?
No.
Anything? I don't know. What are you going to do?
Book I already own and have not read.
Oh. That's a good philosophy.
That's what I'm doing from now on.
I think I'm doing the same.
All right.
That's, you're a genius, Scott.
Yep. So, this episode is about geek gifting, right? So I had this idea, and this idea came to me because my birthday was recent, carousel time. I'm already dead, if you didn't know.
Oh, my. Well, no, she did.
And, my mom thought she was cute, and she sent me a birthday card, just sort of generic, and I shoved it in with all the other cards in the box. But in that card, there were some pony stickers, because my mom is like that.
You know what's interesting, just because you bring that up, pretty much every card, gift, anything I've gotten since My Little Pony became a thing, and it was obvious that I was a big fan of it, has had a pony thing in it. So
now, I appreciate this gift of pony stickers, right? Because number one, it shows that my mom is not, a stupid mom or I don't have bad parents like I see on the internet people complaining about so often.
What do you know? You see that through Daryl Surratt's Twitter.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of them out there.
Fuck you,
I see
Grandma.
a lot of stories like parents thinking their kids are gay because they're watching ponies or, all kinds of bad stuff, right?
You saw the Daryl Surratt's ad, he doubled down. Now it's fuck you, Grandma.
I know, but to have parents who not only are like okay with watching ponies, but like will send you pony stickers and be like, lols.
Dude, your mom watched Radio Free Equestria.
Yeah, that is some good parents right there. So anyway, but the thing is, they were the wrong ponies. They were 3rd gen pony stickers.
Wait, that you know what that's like? So let's say that I am, a knight, and I'm an emissary of some fantasy empire, and I'm going to some other fantasy empire in a Forgotten Realms kind of world, and I bring diamonds as a gift, but diamonds are bad in that place because diamonds are what the evil god,
right. And
nerds care about that.
And, this reminded me of another similar incident, and again to show how my mom is cool, right? When I was a kid, I would buy the comic books at the comic book store when comic books only cost $1.25. And there are only 2 comic books that I read in the 90s. Adjectiveless X-Men and Spider-Man 2099. And my mom, and my mom is somewhat nerdy, right? She likes the old horror stuff. She likes James Bond. She likes Zatoichi. She's kind of nerdy. But she thought, hey, she must have been in the mall or something and went to the comic book store. And she knew that I read Spider-Man 2099. She knew that much, right? And she bought the issue that was there. I think it was issue 10. But I already had issue 10. I needed issue 11, which is not out yet.
My parents actually had a lot better luck in that front because my mom, they made me watch Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah, that's
true.
So
they got me into anime.
That's true.
So then they'd be like, let's buy some anime. It was easy to get me gifts.
We do not take our geekery supporting parents for granted.
No.
Yet, at the same time, even geekery supporting parents will get it wrong. I guess they couldn't get it wrong with magic cards, right? You can't go wrong there, if that's what you want. But the point is this. It is really, if you are not a nerd who is very, very close to the other nerd that you are gifting for, it is next to impossible to get them a gift that is correct.
So
unless it is incredibly expensive or they themselves lack money and cannot buy nerdy things for themselves.
So let's take the example of the nerd first, like the guy who was hardcore about one thing.
So he's a Trekkie. We'll go with the Trekkie, easiest
All right,
example.
so Trekkie. All right, so one. Are you also a Trekkie? Because or Trekker, do you even realize that they care about the difference?
I do know they care about the difference, but I admit I do not know the difference.
Okay, so
I do know there are 2 words and they mean different things.
So I'll say this. If you're not on the same level of them, you're already 10 years too early.
Right, and it's like, okay, I know that guy likes Star Trek.
All right, so what are you going to possibly know about and find that he doesn't already own or chooses not to own because it's a bad thing, like a G3 pony?
Exactly, right? I could go and get something like, I don't...
great, a bust of Picard. I'll put it next to my other bust of Picard that's signed by Patrick Stewart.
Right, it's like, I don't know much about Star Trek, but I am nerdy, so I know some things about it. And it's like, what could I think of to get someone who likes Star Trek? I could get you, the Enterprise technical manual.
He's got that.
He's got that. I could get you the box of Next Generation DVD, but that's just on Netflix, and they got that.
I guess there's 2 directions of what you can get him, but they are highly dependent upon knowing what that thing
You have to
is.
know what the guy's got. Maybe I'll get him a model of the Voyager, but he hates Voyager.
My example was going to be, I was going to double down. So check this. So one of the best things you can get a nerd is a thing that isn't commonly available, like get something signed by someone that they're not likely to meet.
But even then, they might not like that person.
So I come with a poster of the Voyager cast signed by whoever played Janeway. And they burn it, after I leave because they hate Janeway and they're a Kirk fan or whatever.
Nerds, it's because someone is a geek, that means that they have a particular taste. And it also, if they have money, that means that they are already indulging in this thing that they like so much. So to find a thing that they want, right, you have to be incredibly intimate, with the person so much that you know what they've already got, what they want, the specifics, details of their likes and dislikes of that thing. And in that case, it's very likely that the things that they do not have that they want are very, very expensive. Like, I know some gifts I could get for some people, but it's like, yeah, that dude collects Avengers. He's missing issues 2 and 3.
Let's see, Scott, Chase.
Avengers 2 and 3. What am I going to buy?
Our friend Chase Gordon, I'd get him a bunch of red cameras.
Yeah, sure, right? But you can't afford that. It's like... So what are you going to get him that he would like that doesn't cost a lot of money? This is incredibly difficult to do.
Well, let's cover it, because I guess a good example of this, we're talking in terms of stereotypical nerderies and geekeries, like Star Trek and whatever. A wine aficionado is a good example, because many of you probably don't know a lot about wine. I know a pretty good amount about wine. I have some coworkers. We were at a fancy wine tasting some time ago, and one of my coworkers, the sommelier brings out a wine and starts explaining it. And one of my coworkers says, "I've actually been to that vineyard," and he knew the guy who runs it, and he's like, his family knows them, and he's toured that. Like he knew a lot. So
was he pretending to know?
No, he really knew.
Using the rim trick?
No, he really knew. So what could I like wine. I know a little bit about wine, but my knowledge of wine compared to him is like Scott's knowledge of Star Trek compared to a Star Trek guy.
That's right.
So what wine related gift could I possibly get him that I would even know to get?
All right, you could get one of the world's premier wines, right? Or like some incredibly famous epic wine for $1 zillion.
Okay, so now I have to research heavily.
Well, if you read Volume 3 of Drops of God, you would know like the 5 premier #1 A+ wines of France.
That's like saying, if a guy has a car,
get him a Ferrari.
Get him a Ferrari. That's exactly what I was going to say. So that implies a wealth disparity where you, the gift giver, have more money than the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, you have to know their taste. So you get a Ferrari for someone who's legless. Great.
Maybe he wants Lamborghini, hates Ferrari.
I get like the rarest, most famous red wine for a guy who actually hates red wine or hates that particular vineyard or already has that wine.
Yep.
Or someone who's really into wine but doesn't collect wine. So I get him a fancy wine that he can't drink because it's rare and he can't store it because he doesn't have a wine cellar.
Yep.
What's he just going to resell it? I might as well have got him cash.
Yeah. It is incredibly difficult. So, what do you actually do when you are in a situation where you must get a gift for a nerdy person? Well, one, you could, like we said, have enough knowledge that you could get them a gift.
Well, let's cover all those cases first. Let's assume that you're giving a gift to someone who has equal knowledge of the thing, and you know each other well enough to know what the person already has.
Oh, well, then it's really easy to get them something because you probably know the exact thing that's missing in their collection, or, you don't actually get them. It's harder when you have to get a gift for a particular time, like a birthday or a wedding. It's easier if it's just like you're walking around town, you happen to see something, and you're like, oh my God, that would be great for so-and-so, and you get it.
So let's up the difficulty. They're a person who has money similar to the amount of money you have, meaning, sure, you can identify a ton of things they don't have, but because they have money and you have money, they're like us. Let's say they buy everything they want. That isn't ludicrous. Now what? They own everything you could possibly think of that is in any way like purchasable on Amazon.
You would have to go outside the box, but it would take a great deal of time and effort, and you may not even be able to come up with something.
That's where you've got to get like the custom thing, like for example, My Little Pony, right? So if someone's really into My Little Pony,
you can get someone to commission something on DeviantArt.
Exactly. They've already got all the shitty toys that Hasbro allowed. You got to commission like the real toys made by hand by someone that no one else can get.
Of course, make it yourself, right? Like the best gift I ever probably got was the hockey thing from Roe.
That is a pretty good thing.
It's like, that is not something that I knew I wanted, could have bought on Amazon, or could have imagined.
You've hit on the rub, the important part. The something I knew I wanted. Because a nerd who is committed and has enough money
knows what they want,
and they buy everything they want, or they at least know it. If you can give someone a gift who is a nerd that is related to their nerdery, but is tangential in the sense that it's not something that existed or they would ever have considered getting, like they would never even think to get the thing, that is pretty much the best possible gift, short of something that you made yourself.
Right, so for the Star Trek person, right, try to think of some other hobby they have. Maybe they like to swim. Get them like a Star Trek bathing suit. They would never think of that in a million years, right? But it probably exists. Or like a floating Enterprise raft for the pool. That probably exists.
Or a fan mashup of all of them, like, getting ready to swim. Maybe they're into, like, ancient ships. Or, like, so it's a bunch of, like, Star Trek characters rowing a trireme.
Yeah, or maybe make a model Enterprise and put it in a bottle.
Not bad.
You like that? How about that?
All right, so what if you don't know shit about their hobby?
You don't know shit at all?
You're trying to get a gift for someone where they're super into something.
But you don't know anything about it.
Well, they're a nerd. So you know, like, you know that this is their primary thing.
So I know that they like Star Trek, but that's it. That's all I know.
That's all you know about
I don't know
them.
any.
They're
So
the kind of person who is identified.
So
like
let's switch it to
their identity is defined by that. Because I'm
All
starting to lean toward that as a nerd. A nerd is someone for whom their public identity is defined by
right.
their likes.
So let's switch it to like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because I don't actually know anything about it other than there's vampires and there's a girl who fights them.
And Joss Whedon.
And Joss Whedon wrote it. That's all I know. So I know that their favorite thing in the world is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but that's all I know about
All
it.
right, so you're probably going to end up doing what your mom did, where, I'll get him this Buffy board game that I found. He hates board games, and that game sucks, and it's not the right Buffy. It's from the show, not the movie. He actually only cares about the movie.
Yep.
But you don't know that. So that fail. That's G3 ponies.
You have to get something. They have to like something else in their life, right? There has to be something else that you can get them outside of that department without going to the gift card
Well, I
route.
think this lends itself to a secondary problem. There is a situation where there are people you're obligated to give a gift to. You know they're nerdy, because almost everyone's nerdy about something. Might be football. But you don't know enough about the thing, and because of the nature of your relationship, you only know them as a fan of that thing. Like buying a gift for coworkers. They're into football. I'll get a football thing, sports ball.
Regardless of geekery, right? A general gift-giving strategy is to get a thing that anyone could like.
Yep.
Spot it. Just get spotted for anybody. It doesn't matter. Get them a spotted.
I remember way back at IBM, we had this gift-giving thing, and I went super generic and got a really nice bottle of wine that was like generic, like easy drinking wine, like easy listening music, like something that
Wide
everyone will kind of
appeal.
like. And meanwhile, the Unix Santa who worked there, who's an awesome dude, got the Star Wars Christmas special
Yeah.
on VHS.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most of the people there, it was like a reverse. It was like if you're a nerd getting a gift for non-nerds. Like going deep in and bringing a thing out where you know the danger, and some other people will know the danger, but not everyone knows the danger. Like imagine if you give the Star Wars Christmas special to someone who has no idea in a room where half the people know what it is. That whole scene as
the
it
whole
plays
room
out,
though will probably explode. Like, whoa,
whoa, that's danger there. You're in a danger zone, some kind of zone in which there is danger. I think I almost enjoy the reverse case more. We're nerds, we're geeks. When you're giving gifts to people who aren't nerds or geeks, find something that is way inside baseball, but also has some either appeal.
Right, because Star Wars Christmas special, right? It's like, okay,
It's dangerous.
people know Star Wars even if they're not nerds, and there's a thing, right? So it would be sort of like this clever thing that anyone could understand almost.
But people, the average
even
person,
if they don't fully understand.
the average person is actually not likely to know about the Star Wars Christmas special.
Nope.
So they'd be like, what do you mean there's more Star Wars?
Yep.
And you're like, yeah,
This
watch
is official. This is a real deal.
You got to give them something either that will get them into your geekery, or give them something dangerous because that's hilarious.
Yep.
It's basically a poison pill.
You could also give things that are just sort of like, generally good, but people don't, know. So like, usually, it's hard to buy someone a comic book or a video game because they'll have like a library of them, right? But people tend not to have too many gadgets. So it's like, I know he doesn't have an e-reader. I know he doesn't have a digital camera.
Technology enabling. But then you're getting into the realm of expensive. If they wanted one, they would have already bought it.
But you can't try to buy a computer nerd like a computer, because it's like, what are you going to do? Go and buy me a new desktop? It's like, it's not going to be right.
So you buy an enablement gadget, like someone who's really into like novels, but isn't technological and doesn't own an e-reader, because they wouldn't even think to. So you buy them an e-reader.
Yep.
But you don't buy them a novel.
No. Can't do that.
Unless you find like an original printing of something.
Yeah, you can always get gift card, but I recommend if you have to get a gift card for somebody,
Amazon?
No, get a gift card that is specific to a thing right? So it's like the Amazon gift card is pretty good.
It's just cash though.
That's what I get for people. But what you can do is you can get, for example, like StarWarsShop.com gift card. So it's like, all right, you're getting a Star Wars thing.
I've always been a fan of if you're going to give someone a gift card, because that's crass. That's one step above, here's some cash.
That's what I do.
But not enough cash. Because here's the thing. If you give someone a lot of cash, that's kind of an awesome gift. Like, hey, dude, we're really good friends. it's your wedding. Here's $5,000.
Yeah, but that's the other thing, right? So it's hard if you couldn't buy me a computer, right? But if you had $5,000, you could not buy a bad computer.
Or if you're a nerd, if you're buying a gift for a nerd and you have more money than them, the best gift you could give them in that regard is to go to them and say, look, I don't know a lot about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
You can just ask.
But what will $5,000 buy?
Yeah. Asking is no nerd will actually complain if you ask, right? I would be like, Death Star Lego. Lego Death Star. Can't go wrong.
Yep.
I'll take it. I got nowhere to put it, but I'll take it.
But I'm a big fan. If you're going to do the gift card, get a gift card to a store the person would never go to normally, like never even think to go to, or like a restaurant that they would never think to go to. And it has to be for a kind of thing that there is no possible way they could use that money for anything practical. That way, it's just something frivolous, like go to the crazy steakhouse or go to like... I'm trying to think of a store that sells something weird that isn't like the Jelly Bean store because that's actually
candle
really lame.
store.
I don't really want a fucking candle. No one wants a candle.
I saw today.
You know what? Skydiving lesson.
That's a good one.
Like something crazy like that they would never think to do.
Good one.
My mom got me that a long time ago, actually. It was really awesome.
I saw today on Boing Boing a candle that is made of chocolate. You put it in a little cake and you light it, and then it melts the chocolate and it becomes a fondant.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's a good gift for a fat person.
Chocolate lover. Yeah, you can't really go wrong with food, right? Even if it's not a funeral, I'll take a fruit basket.
So, Scott.
Gift basket.
What about our case? You and me specifically.
If you want to get me something.
What do you buy for us? Because we're not to brag, but we buy literally everything I want. I either already bought or is so expensive.
That's right.
That unless you're a millionaire who wants to be the guy who's like, yo, dude, here's $10,000.
Well, I mean, you can get me the Lego Death Star. I will not complain.
Nah?
Lego Superstar
Scott,
Destroyer,
where are you
I'll
going to
take
put
it.
it?
You can get me a bigger apartment. I will not complain. Air hockey table. I will not complain.
I have this extra trouble of I live in the city. I don't have
a car with
space.
A car with a parking lot, or a parking spot,
yeah,
and
but
or
see,
garage.
Scott, you realize every gift you're suggesting is something that's ludicrous.
Yep.
So what do you...
Make me something that I didn't know I wanted.
Yeah. The best gifts I've gotten are
we already discussed that, but it's pretty much your only option.
Like Nuri got me a fantastic scarf. Ro got me actually a really good bottle of wine that we just drank the other night. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten some... Emily gets me like random stuff all the time that's just awesome. Like stuff I would never... Like she gives me a gift. I'm like, wow. I never in a million years would have thought to get something like that on my own. And
another thing is there might be something the person likes that's disposable, right? And you can always get more, right?
Yo, dog, here's a box of condoms.
I didn't mean it like that.
But
that's not too bad.
Exactly.
That's not too bad, though, right? Or it's something that you can never have enough of, right? So, like I said,
here's some RAM.
Right. So before it was like, Magic the Gathering cards, right? You can just buy someone a fucking box of them, and it's like,
yeah. If someone's into collectible games, boosters will never.
You like miniatures? Can't hurt to have more paint.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Already. You might buy the wrong kind of paint because if you're painting Warhammer 40K and you get him the wrong paint, no.
But it couldn't hurt. Here is a friggin' here's a whole bunch of minis.
Oh, great! Some Fallen Empires boosters. Those aren't legal in any tournament.
I'm just saying.
And they're not valuable because fuck Fallen Empires.
It's better than nothing.
Oh, great! They're even in Italian because you didn't know better. Thanks.
That's actually kind of cool.
Thanks, Grandma.
You couldn't do worse. You could do worse. Is what I'm.
I think I want to say something. You have to avoid.
Or it's like Lego. Just buy them a whole fucking bucket of Lego. More Lego.
This is getting back to the early, but you have to avoid traps. If you're buying something for someone, like gaming is a great example. How many of you
can't have more dice?
How many of you have Grandma bought you a Game Boy Advance game, and it's like Pets?
Yeah, right.
I mean, how many kids,
because they went to GameStop and took the advice of the GameStop employee.
Yeah, the GameStop guy's like, they heard of Nintendogs.
My grandma bought me Ninja Turtles 2 Arcade Edition.
Ooh, she knew
for
what was
NES.
Up. But I'm saying there was a whole industry around things that are traps for people who are buying gifts for people who are into a thing who don't know about that thing. And that is exemplified by the Pets series because that existed. Dogs was nothing more than to trick grandmas who didn't realize that Nintendo
Was sold out.
was the name of the game. So they go to the store and say, I need that dog game for the Nintendo. And the canny employee of GameStop says, here is the high margin dogs game. It is the Nintendo dogs game.
Yep.
Because it is the dogs game on Nintendo.
It is a
And the
dog
kid
game.
opens it and says, thanks, Grandma. And then tweets, fuck you, Grandma.
And Daryl Sorrett retweets it.
And then the circle of life is complete.
That's right.
So if you're buying a gift for someone who is a nerd and you don't know about it, be very, very wary of things that are traps that are literally trying to steal money from people who are exactly like you. When in doubt, find another nerd of that thing and be like, is this a trap? Is this an Akbar in the vernacular? This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.